but it's more like I don't even know where I am. Ooh, baby, get hyped to the beat.
Next episode of the Woah Show. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Carpy's Print Company. They made this hat, Woah 15. Get a discount on hats. It's good for us big-headed individuals like myself. They fit perfect every single time. And Close Racing Supply. It's 2024, guys. Let's get working on our rides here. I know everybody's probably thrashing around, starting to get going on stuff. Hey, our guest today is actually somebody I've actually never met before. This is the first time I've actually had, a long talk with him. Excited about that. He's doing some great stuff for the UMP Modified class. He is the man behind the Modified Mafia tour. I think that makes him the Godfather or something like that if we're using, Mafia terms. Brandon Riffe, what's going on, man?
Hey, man. Thanks for having us. We're trying to get rid of all this crazy weather before season starts here.
Well, they just moved the Bills game and I'm about like an hour and change away from where the Bills play. They had to move the game to Monday because of how crazy the weather is up there. We're just getting the wind and a little bit of snow. But it's been a windy last couple days. But hey, let's talk about some warmer weather stuff. Coming up your sophomore season here for the Modified Mafia tour. I was looking at some tracks here and all this. Going into your second year of this deal, what have you gone from year one to year two, kind of learning about and putting together this series?
I mean, it's a learning process. Like I say, we've said this on other podcasts, but I've formed a series from a driver's standpoint. I've raced since I was 15, 14, so built the series from a driver's standpoint, and you learn every time you go to the racetrack, just like you would as a driver. You take people's input, and you see, obviously, me and Jonathan Clayton from Mars have a good relationship, so we talk back and forth and see what's working out there and what's working here and what's not, and we want to continue to grow the series across the country, not just here. You know what I mean? We want to make mods as big as late models are, everywhere they go. So anytime we have a mod show, people are excited. They come to the track. They bring friends. Obviously we get more drivers on board. I feel like that's the respect and attention they deserve. And like I say, we just learn every time we're at the racetrack. We take input, and we see how things go and how things operate the best. So we had a few hiccups here and there last year, but overall it was a really great year. Nothing major, so just probably more things from my point of view of as a business owner of we need to do that better. Everybody else is probably enthused and happy about it, but I just want to make it better.
Yeah, last year was my first ever time promoting a race. And mind you, I didn't do all the behind the scenes. I didn't do any race directing or actually, I didn't even really come up with a format. I'm like, hey, let's just run this as a regular show. And then I started talking to people like, hey, so why not this, and this? It's all about bouncing people or ideas off of people. And I think going off that about getting modified some more respect and trying to make them the next, thing. I know in my area, it used to be a super late model territory for a long, long time. And now we have, crate late models are taking over. I know we live in a really weird area where you go down south, you got 410s, you got supers down there in central and southern PA. You go north, it's big block country. It's like this weird melting pot, but I've seen over the last couple years, and I haven't been in the sport too long, behind the scenes, is that the modified division is this like silently growing class even around here. And hopefully, I know that there's a lot of series and things popping up, but hopefully we can continue to get the get the hype up about it. just a couple things around the country. I feel like the Dome is a great place, a great platform for mods to show off too. So speaking of you started the series last year. I know we talked a little bit before that you worked for Dirt Car for a few years. Um, how did it come about that you started this whole deal?
Yeah, so I work for Dirt Car Steel, and I've worked for them for a few years here, and um, it was just almost about this time last year, and um, there was a series here on the East Coast that kind of had a downfall, and um, obviously went out of business, but just some of the drivers reached out to me, just knowing me from Dirt Car, and some of these guys I've raced with, and they're like, "Man, we think you should start a series," and I'm like, "Man, that's way above my head. There's no way I can do that." But they just kept at it, and I'm like, "Well, let me make some phone calls." So I called Sam at Dirt Car, who's my boss, and I'm like, "Sam, what do you think about a series on the East Coast for mods?" And he was like, "Who's doing it?" And I'm like, "Well, they're kind of asking me if I want to do it." He said, "You're the man for the job." And I'm like, "Well, as long as I got your support," I said, "I'll try it." And it's we left the ground that day, and we keep rising. So just super excited that the promises these drivers made to support the series if I started it, and help us promote and get contacts and racetracks, and I'm just I'm proud that they've upheld their end of the bargain. So I made them a promise when we started, and that's the promise I'm keeping. And as all year last year, they upheld their end of the deal too.
Yeah, there's and I know I try to pop in and watch a couple races when I can here. But with how much we got up here, it's hard to try to keep up with everything. But I was looking at the schedule. You're bringing the mods to Pennsboro. That's gonna be amazing with the bull ring that they're creating there. You're gonna be at Tyler County, which is a fantastic track for any race car that I've ever seen run there. What goes into not only I'm sure that it's you can contact a racetrack and say, "Hey, let's talk about a race." What goes into maybe selecting the right racetracks for your series? Because I'm sure there's more people trying to get a hold of you from last year to this year about hosting a race there. It happened to me. All of a sudden, out of a blue, we're running two races this year versus just the one that we planned on. So I guess yeah. How does that all come about when you start forming a schedule? What makes a racetrack good for you, and I mean the other way around. What do you bring to a racetrack? I always find that interesting because when I first got into it, I'm like, how do we make this good for both sides?
Yeah. Well, we're obviously loyal to the day one people that supported us last year. So all those racetracks had first dibs to come back on board, and everybody did. And um, we were looking uh, at trying to bring the mega back. I wanted to do it last year, but um, obviously with a year one series and that much of a payout, it just couldn't get a deal worked out. But thankfully this year we did, and we're super excited to get back to Tyler. Tyler's obviously a home state track, so and the Mega's always been a massive show. So definitely looking forward to getting back there. They're a new track on board. The Pennsboro deal is going to be great with Barry and XR. Um, it's we're trying to bring back some of these. I wouldn't say older races, but some of these well-known races that have been in the past and have kind of faded out. I know COVID had a big deal on the mega deal, and just trying to bring those back. It's good paying money for mods, and there's a lot that goes into it, obviously. And we just a lot of times we get told no. Sometimes we don't get a message back, and that's fine. But we're trying. We reach out to these racetracks. I think our drivers and our style of cars would race well at. So I'm a small bull ring type of guy. I like those small racetracks, but There's several big racetracks we go to that race really well too. So we try to make it work out for everybody logistically on, especially for our drivers. Logistically we can't travel 9 hours for a 1 day 2,000 win show. It just doesn't make sense for anybody. But um we try to help the track out with promotion and trying to give a little bit back to the person when we can. And just showing that. I think last year showed that when we show up to the racetrack, we have a stout field of cars. I think our average car count was 25, 26 last year, which is good when 80% of the racetracks we go to don't run mods weekly. So the guys we're bringing are the guys that are with us. So that makes me feel good about the upcoming year, especially going to places like Tyler and back to VMS, places where they run mods weekly. If we're bringing 20 plus and they already have 20 plus, we're looking at a huge field of race cars. So there's a lot that goes into it. We worked on a lot of these deals from the time County Line ended, and I was at Charlotte for the short track championships and working that, and still trying to work deals out to have some of these bigger shows that we have this year. So just super thankful for all the racetracks that come on board. I mean, they're obviously put their neck out for every series or any class they have, really, because they don't have to open the doors and they don't have to pay us anything. So we're very thankful for the guys and tracks that we do have, and it's going to be a massive year. Over $500,000 in purse money this year. So very thankful for the racetracks we have on board. We're still working on a couple more dates, and then our schedule will be set. So we'll be ready for 24.
I'm super excited to see. There's a couple to be announced here on certain dates here. It's fun because I think it was Mason Lobb that kind of first introduced me to the series, because he's really been the guy that got me into mods. That, and then obviously I got Bud Watson's hoodie on here. He's been a big part of kind of pushing me in that direction. So even though you're heading just into your second year in a very new series, what are some of the, I guess, the bucket list, the goals you were touching on, bringing back some of these older races? Like, if there was like a dream scenario that you were able to put together, maybe like some tracks or some other things like that. What's on the list of these are the big picture ideas for the series?
Well, we just, obviously want to continue to grow every year. I think the payouts that we're having this year, I think they're really good payouts for mods, but we always want to continue to grow those. And I feel like we will. If everything works out like we need it to, or it should, um, the sky's the limit for the mods here. So bucket list stuff. Obviously, we'd love to have a race at Eldora. I would love to get to Port Royal. Port Royal's a really racy racetrack to be as big as it is, and really like that place. I've teched a few times up there for dirt car, and um, obviously we got the mega back at Tyler. We want to keep that tradition going after we start it back this year. We'd love to continue that. VMS is a great partnership, paying really, really big money this year for the 2 times we were there. So, obviously VMS is a well-known racetrack. Sawyers down there are great people. So, would like to venture into Georgia and Florida some more. It just that a lot of crate deal down there, so it's there's not a lot of mods in Georgia, and but there's a lot of mods. It's not UMP mods, so we're working on trying to get some more Georgia places. I don't really feel like we need to go west any farther than what we're at. We obviously have the Plateau Series there that runs Middle Tennessee, Middle Kentucky. Is a great guy. I met him at the car show. And then, after that, we have Jonathan with the Mars Series. So I feel like, us three in this, to that region over there, we all have our own little section here, and we're doing all we can to grow the series. I know the Plateau Series has some decent paying races this year too, and Jonathan's got his 20,000 to win Fairbury deal out there this year. So just there's a lot of racetracks that you want to go to and race at. Some of it just may not make sense for the racetrack, may not make sense for us, may not make sense for the drivers. So you just got to keep all that in mind. But obviously, like Port Royal, we want to stay at VMS, want to continue the mega at Tyler. Would like to obviously get to Eldora and maybe even some more Ohio racetracks. So we just keep working at it and keep proving ourselves, and those things hopefully will fall in place.
Yeah, as a fanboy of modifieds around my area, Ohio has a great modified racing community out here. They've kind of really built that up with some local stuff they got going out here, and hopefully I will be able to keep being a part of that. So yeah, Port Royal, they run mods once a year, and I always try to make the trip down for that. It's fantastic. I'd love to see you guys down there, and maybe even keep pushing up north. There's a lot of racetracks up here that there's cars up here, but there's just not quite the push to get some more races at different places. So it'll be awesome to keep seeing how that grows. So you're talking about, people pushing it into running a series, and this is a great callback to a talk that I was talking to my buddy Marty, which was one of our very early episodes here, about getting new blood into the sport and new things starting, because it's about time to start taking over some of these things. For maybe people that are looking in, maybe not jumping right into the deep end of promoting, but maybe touch on a little bit of that about just getting people into the sport. As I know it's get people in the stands, get people working behind the scenes. If there's any advice you want to give to the people out there, I think it's a very interesting aspect to come from someone who went from I don't know if I can handle running a series to now being one of the series people have got their eyes on, being like, oh, we got something here.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, but it's not just been me. Like I say, it's been everybody involved between our partners and our tracks and the fans that show up every week to support us, and obviously our drivers that travel all over the country here on the East Coast for our races. So I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. The main thing is just being honest and true to people. Don't sugarcoat stuff. Don't promise things that you can't do. Just say, hey, this is what we can do. If we can do more, we will do it. If we can't, this is what you got. That's one thing I learned just being around the sport in general is just don't promise things that you can't do. Be honest with the racetrack. Say this is the car count I think we'll have, or this is the sponsor we can bring, or whatever. To try to help the racetracks out, and then pretty much all year. I mean, we had really good racing. Obviously the Dome and places like that are putting mods back on the map as really good racing. Even Vado, the Wild West Shootout. Nothing against late models, but the mods were the ones putting on the show. I know Cade kind of stuck up the open mod deal, but the X mods and back through the field, these mods are racing 3 and 4 wide at Vado. So. And you go to the Dome, and it's the same thing. I mean, just putting on a great show. So can't thank Cody and Emma and everybody at the Dirt Nationals there to that put on that show to help get the modifieds in the spotlight as well. So like I say, we have great racing. I think the more that fans come to the racetrack and see that mods put on a really good show. I mean, you got 7, 8, 900 horsepower mod motors on a little bitty 8-inch street stock tire pretty much. So it makes it really interesting when they start racing each other. And we do meet and greets. All my drivers are required to do a meet and greet with the fans at intermission at every racetrack we go to, just to try to keep these fans interested, to keep the younger people interested in, hey, you know, that could be me, or if they get a coloring book at intermission, or they get some autographs, or whatever. It's 10 minutes out of our night, and I think it goes a long way with bringing fans back to the racetrack. So, and to be able to keep these racetracks going, that's what the racetracks have to have. They have to have people in the gate, whether it's the pit gate, whether it's the stands. Um, a lot of racetracks are going back to bi-weekly stuff, to try to make it easier on their fans, because a lot of them understand that fans and drivers necessarily don't have the money to come every weekend. So, like I say, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that I've learned on the racetrack side that is like, man, they take a huge risk every time they open the gate. So, kudos to all the racetracks out there, not even the ones we're affiliated with, just any of them that take the chance and open the gates every weekend to give us some really good form of entertainment.
Yeah, the more and more I get behind the scenes, that's definitely something I see too. Is these guys they don't got to do this, and it's great that they do it. Hey, before we hop off here, make sure you plug all the people that make everything happen. Shout out the sponsors and things like that.
Yeah. May forget somebody here. Obviously, VP's back on board with us for as our title sponsor for the 2024 year. So, got to thank everybody at Bobby Taylor Oil Company and VP, DJ Irvine, just everybody that is supporting us there. Obviously, Dirt Car Hoosier. We have Gen 3 Apparel. We have RTR Performance, Stokes Apparel, Dynamic Drivelines. Ben and Mike at Dynamic Drivelines have been awesome. They were amazing to our rookies last year. We have Home Furniture Mattress. Thomas Clark Performance does our websites. Is doing a great job. We talked to several people at the car show, and hopefully getting them on board. Pop Bit is back with us. Who else here? Let me let me see before I forget somebody, because I will.
That's
Yeah,
why
it's
I'm
just
I'm
it,
always
it's it.
impressed by the guys that sit in victory lane, and we were talking about this with a couple people. Is they can list off all their sponsors without looking at the car. I'm like, this is the most impressive thing ever.
Yeah, well, a lot of those drivers are in victory lane pretty regular. So it's pretty good. Uh, Atwell Exterior Services, Home Furniture Mattress, Dynamic Drivelines, Pop Bit, Stokes Apparel, Prime Electrical Solutions. Obviously, Jimmy Holcomb there with Prime Electrical Solutions has done a lot for our series, a lot more than people really understand. So a big thanks to Prime Electrical Solutions, Club 69 Race Cars, Down East Metal Fab, RTR Performance, Dirt Car. I think that's about it. Like I say, we got some new ones we're working on deals with, so hopefully they uh, see the value in our series and our drivers, and hopefully we can get those on board. We're still working on that. But yeah, just super excited for the 2024 season. We want to continue to grow this every year, and hopefully we can get up towards your area a little bit. Like I say, State Line. I hear a lot of good things about State Line, and even Sharon, all those Wayne County. I mean, there's a lot of good racetracks up there in Ohio and northern North New York. So hopefully we can get there. We'll just have to keep digging at it and see what we can do.
We'll keep moving on the mods thing up here. We're actually just to plug a little bit of our stuff. We brought back mods to one of my home racetracks for the first time, and I think it was like 15 years, and they just put on an absolutely great show. I think we outdrew every other class. We put on a show. I came out of I was sitting up in the box doing lap money and stuff, because I was basically a one-man army trying to run around, give people money, say thank you to all the drivers for coming, and the whole 9 yards. And I was walking down out of the box, and people were coming up to me that knew that it was my deal, and they were like, these things are amazing. We need to race these here more. I was like, it made me feel so good to know that, we have like two big name mod drivers, and these guys are starting to be a fan. They were like, this guy that, they made fans of drivers that, you know, they didn't know who even was in the car before walking in the gate that night. You know, good stuff.
Once people see these cars in person, I mean, they put on some of the best racing you'll see. I mean, honestly, I've been a late model guy all my life. You know, run super lates and crate lates, and I have obviously got 2 modifieds now. But you know, I've been a late model guy forever. And then now, the more I gotten into the mod scene, the more you see that, man, these guys really put on a good show, and they're really good wheelmen. I mean, there's some great drivers in our side of the country here that can wheel a modified.
Yes, and I think a lot of the guys that are making the jump from late models to modifieds are really talking about, you know, modified. You just really got to drive the hell out of them, and, you know, you just get up and you just drive them. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot to be said about late models, and you know, it's a different, you know, skill set. And a lot of guys are jumping into mods because they just think, you know, it, I guess, more fun, you know, and you can just get after in these things.
It's like we had Mason Ziegler at several of our shows last year, and it looks like he's going to race a lot with us this year. So, you know, there's several late model guys that are going back to mods. I talked to a few at the car show there a couple weekends ago, and several late model guys, like well-known late model guys, are making the jump back to mods. So it's hopefully it keeps catching on. You know, hopefully this is not a fad. Hopefully we can get these drivers and keep them. So just what racetrack was your home racetrack there?
Well, one of them, Freedom Motorsports Park. They didn't run mod. They used to run mods weekly there. Used to be kind of like their headlining class for a little while, and then they dropped them for I don't even know what. Probably car count, because they kind of, you know, as things, you know, ebb and flow. You know, those things, you know, happen. I think they brought in Supers was their, you know, headlining class, but now, you know, I think it's a great time to be on the mod side of things. I think they're bringing them back. You know,
we agree.
So, all right, you know, thank you for joining, ladies and gentlemen, the Godfather of the Modified Mafia. I hope that catches on. That should be your official title.
Well, it's kind of catchy, I guess. I mean, I'm good with whatever, as long as people know what we're doing and the direction we're going. I'm good. They can call me whatever.
Thanks for joining our show, guy.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Let's go, cause this is our jam. This is our jam. Let's go. Let me break it down right quick for my haters, my dictators and bad raiders. Since you never seem to get it right no more than right now.